Article 5 of the Constitution gives states the power to call a convention for the purpose of proposing amendments. Now, a grassroots group of roughly 2 million people wants to use this process to limit the power of the federal government, and they've recruited a prominent conservative to help out. One America's John Hines has more from Washington.
Former South Carolina Senator Jim Demint, who departed the Heritage Foundation last month as its president, has now become a senior advisor to a fast-growing conservative movement pushing states to amend the Constitution to rein in federal spending and power.
I'm going to work on two fronts. The founders, the writers of the Constitution, gave us two ways to amend the Constitution. And one of them is for the states to come together and call for an amendments convention. We need amendments to force a balanced budget, restrict spending, and restrict the jurisdiction and the authority of the federal government. So I've joined the Convention of the States Project. They're working all over the country.
The Convention of the States Project, as former South Carolina Senator Jim Demint explains, aims to amend the Constitution with an amendment convention, as opposed to rewriting it with a constitutional convention. And now the time is right, Demint says, to build some constitutional guardrails on Congress.
I've had a chance to see Congress at work for many years in the House and the Senate, and I've come to realize that while we need to continue to support conservatives on the Hill, and I'm certainly going to do that Congress is never going to stop spending. It's never going to restrict its power. They're going to continue to run over the powers that were given to the states and the people by the Constitution. I'm convinced that this is something that can happen in the next 2 or 3 years.
And while reining in spending and federal power is a big part of what Demint hopes to achieve, Mark Meckler, who is the president of the Convention of the States Project, says that fundamentally the way to achieve these goals is for laws and regulations to be made locally.
Part of the reason we have such partisanship, hyper-partisanship here in Washington, D.C. is because D.C. is making so many decisions for the people of America, and people are different. If you're in Texas, people are different than people in California or New York. And so we're having this fight because the issues are being decided nationally instead of locally. And most regular Americans agree outside this city that the decision should be made at home by them.
Meckler, who is also a co-founder of the Tea Party Patriots, says that they have some 2.2 million grassroots activists, and so far 12 states have approved the Convention of States resolution. John Hines, One America News, Washington.